Hello. This is my review on Captain America Civil War, known as Captain America 3. The last one was Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans, reprising his role again as Captain America. And the sequels to the Avengers movie of 2012. To Age of Ultron, all the way to Endgame. So that's 3 Avengers sequels they made. And that would be Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and Endgame. I give Age of Ultron that's the first sequel. Age of Ultron, I give a 7 out of 10. Because it still kind of lives within the realm of fantasy, of power fantasy, and making it feel like a power, explosive power fantasy. And still kind of aware that it's a comic book movie, and what lives in that kind of reality of comic book movie, but the only problem is it kind of feels like a rehash plot, not intentional, but an accidental rehash plot of Whedon's first Avengers outing, by Whedon, directed by. And it seems like, I wouldn't have known this if I didn't watch the content to Age of Ultron also, besides the first Avengers movie. I wouldn't have known this unless I told you, if I didn't told you this. I mean, I only told you this because I found this out on the commentary of Age of Ultron. I found out we didn't rewatch his last movie, was the Avengers. Didn't study to learn from his mistakes or take notes from it. Because, you know, he thought it would be lazy to do that, to take notes of learn from his mistake by rewatching the new Avengers movie and learning, refreshing memory of what you did and what you did do. And we then decided, you know, he doesn't want to rewatch the first Avengers movie, so he decided to just treat this Avengers movie as a new movie. That's what he says in the commentary. We didn't want to treat the Avengers movie like, didn't want to make the same movie like he did with the first 2001, from 2012. In the commentary, he said he didn't want to make the same movie, so he didn't think he should rewatch the first movie. So he ended up making the same fucking movie with Age of Ultron. I mean, shit, it's the same movie. It's the same movie. Like, it feels like the similar stakes, but they dialed up the extreme action and worked in more humor than the first one, because at this point, Guardians of the Galaxy already came out the year before Age of Ultron. And, Marvel did this thing where they kind of made all of their movies overcrowded with humor. Since Guardians took a more comedic approach, Marvel hasn't gone out of that comfort zone of taking everything to the extreme comedic level. So it's not that the first, so, you know, the first one that was self-aware as enough as it was, it didn't to be more self-aware. The brand didn't need to be more jokey and self-aware than what it was the first one. It was self-aware and on it was his brand enough, but it didn't become cringe. But in Age of Ultron, it starts becoming cringe. But then when you get to the last 2 sequels, it is fucking cringe. Because the last 2 sequels are directed by the Russo brothers that directed the Age of Ultron, the Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and Civil War, the third one I'm going to talk about in the same video of the Captain America movie. And Captain America: Civil War I'm going to talk about right now. Okay, we'll start talking about the Avengers movie, because technically it is an Avengers movie continuation, because more of Avengers. All the Avengers are more involved with the plot than just Captain America point of view. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Civil War, while it was good for what it was, I give that a 7 out of 10. It's very above average and good for what it was. But the only problem why I give this a 7 out of 10 and what's kind of holding it back is that Civil War marks the turn when Marvel tried to bring things more in our reality and less into the fantasy reality of comic books. Civil War kind of marked the beginning of where Marvel started to go into the realistic approach of making things more realistically in the comic book world, design-wise, and less on the fantasy elements. And it was kind of the Russo's idea to make that a part of their movie for Civil War. It was kind of the idea to do that, like a little style for Civil War to make I guess they wanted to make the movie feel like has stakes, and you want to feel like it has some sort of like identity to it. But the problem is, not since after Civil War came out in 2016, Marvel continued to make things more grounded in that reality while keeping the more self-aware cringe humor within their product forward. With Infinity War and Endgame released back in 2017. And 2017, I think, 2018 is when Infinity War came out. And the year after, that's when Endgame came out. And everyone thought that was going to be the last Marvel movie. Everyone was treating it like it was the last Marvel movie. But I didn't think it was going to be the last Marvel movie because they're saving and building up more story for future stories. That's why hearing the Captain America, the new Captain America, the Shield from the old Steve Rogers to the new guy Sam Wilson, even though it felt forced and out of nowhere, I could tell that this is not the last Marvel movie. Not even close. Because you don't do that unless you plan on not even coming close. Like, that means when people do something like that for movies, it means they have more stories to tell. And planted more stories to tell was an Endgame. So I kind of knew that this was not going to be close to the last one. But everyone on the internet was treating like it was the last one. And the public was treating like it was the last one Endgame. Like it was the last Marvel movie. Yeah, it was the last. But they were worried about a few people were worried about one thing. It was the last really big Marvel movie. To this day, not any Marvel can make this, keep every Marvel movie, even no matter how good work amounts, it keeps losing money to this day after post Endgame. Like, that was the last one that people actually, general public, went to see. So, and Endgame was the same as Infinity War. It was too far in reality, but also was too comedic to not get annoying. So it was too comedic and too grounded in reality, and didn't feel like a power fantasy like the previous two Avengers movie did, or even Civil War did. Because everything, all of the action in the movies and not only that, the movies, not even, the last two Avengers movies don't bother to flesh any of the Avengers out on the team, working with the team, or the team leader. They just focus on fleshing out Thanos because I found watching the commentary, and I found watching the reason why they focused so much on Thanos because they didn't know how to flesh out any of the Avengers characters because there's too many Avengers characters in the movie, so they just focus on Thanos, thinking that that's a complete, and they figure that's the easiest thing to do. This be Thanos of the movie. For the Infinity War. Now, with a movie called The Avengers, I would be a foolish thing thinking that this movie should be about the Avengers going through character arcs, not the bad guy that kills half of the Avengers and half of the Earth in the end. You know, something that makes my blood pressure low rise up to the unethical child level sometimes when I think about it. It makes my blood pressure high thinking about it. This kind of stupidity. But then they tried to have the course corrected with the end game by having the Avengers focus more on the Avengers by killing off and decapitating Thanos, who comes back, but not the thing that they killed off in the movie, a variant of him from the past, due to them time traveling and Man Lose time travel. After cracking this code for time travel, to Tony Stark being Jesus Christ. And the answer to all plot MacGuffins. Marvel Jesus. You know, of all people, I wouldn't expect Jesus Christ to be in form of a Tony Stark. I picture more Henry Cavill's Superman. Or Christopher Reeves. Or Brandon Routh. You know, someone I could take seriously. And don't think that that guy's going to kill us all because he's an idiot. You know, there is one problem with Tony, like, being kind of selfish, not wanting to have tweaked things and just have everyone bring back as is. You know, I just think, you know, it would be kind of funny. What if they were in a plane and they just came back in the same place and they fell to their doom? Because what if that happened? Wouldn't that be funny? The civilian casualties, the trauma of America due to the Avengers bringing back the dead. Wouldn't that be funny if it was shot like a horror movie? Oh yes, it would be, because we see some of that in WandaVision's show, where it's shot like a horror movie, and you know, you see the ramification of the problem with Tony Stark's wish list of being just sapping people back and not really thinking of where to put them. Like, personally, I would probably put them in a... If I would put them, I would probably maybe put them somewhere place in one spot where there's not a whole lot of city room, of buildings or construction work of any sorts in the world, somewhere that has perfectly safe, that can hold at least half of the population, but not really look like a horror fest. I wish, but he's like, you know, but Tony Stark didn't think of that because he's an idiot, and I'm smarter. Clearly, because I thought of that. No wonder the Avengers lost to Thanos. All of them are incompetent morons. Even Black Widow in Infinity War, because she thinks it would be good to, like, leave the bad guys off with a warning and not just kill them. Thanos' army. That they took out 2 of them. Because, of course, they're the heroes. They have to be the honest and not fight dirty and take a life when necessary. Because that's the code of the heroes. Do not kill, no matter the cost. Do not trade lives, no matter the cost, which will make you lose in the end. Words of the Avengers taught you that. And Infinity War, based off the actions, has taught me. If you value all life and you don't take risks and don't kill or do everything the good guy way, you're going to lose in the end. Like the Avengers did in Infinity War. The harsh, cold truths of reality means your heroes are incapoops and suck as heroes. Incompetent heroes. More than the Justice League from the Snyderverse when you think about it. Because when I just realized, it kind of dawned on me in the middle of the night. Now, I love Zack Snyder's Justice League, but, I have one plot hole. I noticed something that Snyder might have not thought of. The Justice League, due to them leading to the, I don't know if in the plot of the Zack Snyder verse of Justice League, the Justice League kind of vaporized the Earth by letting Steppenwolf's commits. By Steppenwolf's committing synchronized the mother boxes, but this only happened because they tried to resurrect Superman with one of the mother boxes, and that was always worse, taking a shot, and Superman, even though he showed up late, he showed up effectively. I couldn't help but notice even though Flash definitely did save the day in the end, big time, by using his super speed, the Justice League kind of led to their own doom, with the mother boxes not going as well planned with Superman, and Superman going forgetting who he is and going cuckoo and trying to kill people now because he doesn't remember who he is, and but he runs Lois Lane. So, in the movie of Snyder Cut, that's around 4 hours long, the movie, I've seen it 6 times now, so I only know this 6 or 8 times now, and I only know this prop. I didn't catch this the first time of watching the movie, but I only picked this up after watching the first 8 times all the way through. So I really like this movie, okay? It's one of my favorite movies of all time, comic movies of all time. Snyder Cut, Justice League. I give that easily a 10 out of 10. So even though I like that movie, I noticed the Justice League kind of were incompetent to lead to their own demise. It wasn't, unless they didn't have Flash on this side, they would have all perished on Earth. The Justice League, because due to synchronized to the mother box, because Flash is the only one that can go faster than the speed of light in time to rewind time and save the Earth. Flash saved the fucking world. Ezra Miller's Flash that I hated in 2017, directed by Whedon, which was all the credit to Zack Snyder in the opening credits, not Whedon. And majority of the movie was shot by Whedon, and Snyder's Cut shot by Zack Snyder, and I couldn't stand Flash in the 17 cut because he had no reason why I could like him. He was too jokey and had no relevant to the plot. So it's why is he there? Why is any of you heroes here? Even Batman felt the same way in the 2017 Justice League, and Superman felt like the closest relevant to the plot, but he was more in there for a cameo for me to make for a few cool action scenes here and there. But it was at the end when they resurrected him. At the third act, at halfway point, they resurrect him in the Whedon cut, and then third act, he comes back in his suit and all. But he doesn't really have a character like he did in the Snyder Cut. There's no very quiet moments or character building moments for Superman outside of cool action scenes and one-liners with Henry Cavill Superman in the 2017 cut. I give Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War a 6 out of 10. Both movies are mediocre score. And Avengers 3, also known as Captain America 3, also known as Captain America Civil War, gets a 7 out of 10 for above average. And I give the 2017 Justice League 7 out of 10 for above average. Because it feels like a rehearsed reimagining my interpretation of the Super Friends show back in the day. Those who can remember the Super Friends show, that came out before my time. I own some of the episodes on VHS, but that's what it feels like. This movie, the Justice League movie from 2017, feels more like a straight up adaptation, live action version of Super Friends show from back in the day. which turned Aquaman into a piece of shit. And also a joke. A piece of shit of a useless character turned him into. Because his powers never worked. I'm sorry. I don't know why Aquaman's powers don't really work consistently in the Superman Friends show. Because he's mostly just used to be a useless shit. But he keeps on getting depowered in the show. It's like, they done him dirty in that Superman Friends show. But, yeah. So I give the Justice League 2017 movie a 7 out of 10. And I'll save the review for Zack Snyder's Justice League in a separate video when I want to talk about that movie. I know I talked about more like the 17 movie, but that's what I was most basically reviewing after the Avengers movies. I talked about the Marvel batch of movies in this video. So I give the 17 Justice League movie a 7 out of 10, above average score gets. Because it feels like a live-action version of the Super Friends show that I have a soft spot for. It's a fun show, for what it was. I mean, it's not he's a really great show, but it's a fun show. Like the 17 Justice League movie, basically. But with more characters of superheroes and supervillains. So, yeah, that's my review. And I appreciate the 17 Justice League tease at the Legion of Doom, or the Injustice League, or the evil versions of Justice League. It teased that. I thought it was cool. It teased that sequel of Justice League never came for 17's Justice League movie. Teased that like the Legion of Doom team up happening, which would be cool. And I thought like idea, but if it was, I think if it would have been a cool idea. That's how like it was. It looked like a cool tease at the end of the movie, and the 17 one of Justice League. I thought it was a cool tease. That's my review on this batch of movies I talked about in this video. Goodbye. Good night. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Hit subscribe. I need to grow my subscribers. And hit thumbs up to like my video. Oh, comment below. You can. And I leave the comment section on now for my comments. If you want to comment on my videos. Goodbye, my audience. Good night.